And welcome back to the weekly market recap where we go over this week's market while keeping it as simple as possible. Now, it's so much going on in the world this week. I had to let you guys know exactly what's going on. The first thing we're going to be talking about is we're still in the middle of earnings season. So some of the biggest companies in the world reported earnings this week, and I'm going to give you guys the data. And the last thing I want to talk about, which is probably the most important, is tariffs. Now, it looks like we're in a tariff war right now. But again, before we talk about that, let's talk about earnings. Right now, we're in the second half of earnings season, and a lot of major companies that you know about did report earnings, like Ford, we had Roblox, Chipotle, all these companies. But the main two I want to go over is the two biggest one, and that is Google and Amazon. Those two stocks are some of the biggest companies in the United States, so everybody was looking to see what exactly those two companies do. And first, we're going to go over Google. Google reported earnings, and if you look at the report card, they beat on earnings per share, but they missed slightly on revenue. And that slight miss took Google down. If you look at the chart above, you'll see this week Google went down tremendously after earnings, and then later on a slight bounce, and then it went down again. The biggest talk of Google is they missed with cloud revenue, and that has been a reoccurring thing with some of the biggest tech stocks. So it's something that I've been keeping an eye on that I do want to let you guys know about. Now, the next earnings is Amazon. Amazon is a huge company that everybody here uses, and Amazon reported earnings, and if you look at the earnings per share and revenue, they actually beat in both. But if you look at the chart above, you'll see that Amazon went down as well. Amazon took a huge dip in the stock market, did not get a rebound, so it looks like it's forming a bear flag to continually to go down. But why did Amazon go down with earnings per share and revenue beat? Well, that is guidance, and I always let you guys know that guidance is what the company is expecting to do the next quarter, and it came in less than everybody expected. Investors didn't like that, and Amazon pulled back tremendously. So we'll see, are those two companies going to rebound, or is this a beginning of a big downside? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the biggest news in the market, and everybody's talking about it, and that is tariffs. So last week, Donald Trump reported a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, and then a 10% tariff on China. So Canada and Mexico did do negotiation with Trump, and now it looks like the tariff's on pause. But with China, it's a little bit different. Now, China 10% tariff is lower than those two, but China came out this week to say that they are going to do a tariff on the United States, and that took the stock market down tremendously. What people don't understand is tariffs are actually inflationary to the consumer, which is me and you. The reason being is because those tariffs get put onto the U.S. companies, and the U.S. companies raise their prices, and who buys those products? Me and you. So it's a very tricky game with tariffs, but it looks like Donald Trump is trying to use his business experience to make leverage to make negotiation with these countries. But with China, it's a little bit different because China said that they're going to have tariffs back on the United States. They asked Trump, what does he think about it? And Trump said he's in no rush to have negotiations with China. And Friday, he had huge news during market hours, and he said next week that he's going to have updates on the tariffs of China. So it could be even more. So this trade war is starting to really ramp up, and this could have major effects on the stock market. So once more news come out, you guys will be the first people I let know what happens with this tariff war. Looking at this chart above, the S&P 500 this week, you'll see how those big announcements played a huge deal in the S&P 500. To start this week off, we had a huge drop off that China tariffs, and then the market started going up a little bit. We tried to get past that 6,100 level, and we could not pass it. And after the news Friday that Donald Trump said they're going to reconfigure the tariffs on China, the stock market went down. Now, looking over a little cryptocurrency, if you look at the chart on Bitcoin this week, Bitcoin has been fading. It did go over $100,000, but now it's slowly eking down. So remember, that line I'll let you guys know about, 92,000. If we can stay above that, we're still good. But if we go under 92,000, Bitcoin can fall, and it can fall fast. Now, next week is another big deal in the market. We have a couple earnings, but again, the major thing is tariff news, and we finally get the CPI and the PPI. So the inflation numbers will be huge, because if inflation stays up, we're not going to be able to get rate cuts. And right now, it's looking like we might only get one rate cut this year. And remember, when rate goes down, usually assets go up. But I'm sure next week should be an action pack, and I can't wait to give you guys the information. But again, this is the weekly market recap. I'll see you soon. Peace.